Speaker, as we near the midnight hour, as Wilson Pickett would say, in the midnight hour, we drift off to reefer madness type of logic. We saw reefer madness in the 30s, and it's come back to Congress here 80 some odd years later. The fact is, we're not talking about marijuana for children. Children shouldn't be doing marijuana, nor should they be smoking tobacco, nor should they be drinking beer or alcohol. We're talking about adults, and we're talking about should adults who are behaving according to the laws in the states in which they live, and the states pass certain laws in Colorado and Washington concerning legalization, and in 20 some odd other states in the District of Columbia pass medical marijuana laws. Should those people who abide by the laws of the state, the laws that is closest to them, that some on the other side of the aisle would regularly say we should defer to the states and we should let the states set the policies for everybody. We do that on a lot of things, but we sometimes don't do it on these particular issues. The fact that people are being incarcerated in great numbers and losing their liberty and having a scarlet M put on their chest that denies them public housing on occasions, denies them scholarships, denies them opportunities to work is wrong. And it's throwing, even if you take the arguments that the gentleman on the other aisle make, if you accept them, it still doesn't fit the punishment, the lifetime scarlet letter that you put on an individual. The Department of Justice is correct to respect the laws of the states and to put an understanding that heroin and crack and cocaine and meth are drugs, and prescription drugs are drugs that really cause the evils we have and the problems we have in society that make people commit crimes to feed their habits. Marijuana does not make people commit crime. It makes them overeat. It doesn't make them commit crimes. And that's why we need to prioritize the resources we have in this country toward those drugs that really cause problems to others. I commend the Department of Justice for their discretion. They haven't gone as far as they should. And the laboratories of democracies, the states, as Louis Brandeis called them, are doing a great service to this country in Colorado and Washington to see how it works. They're bringing in millions and millions of dollars. Violent crime has gone down in Colorado. There have not been the problems alleged to have occurred in others, and we can wait and see how those states' experiments go. And the Department of Justice is allowing the experiment to go on for other states' benefits. And I would yield.
Thank you, gentlemen. And I would say to you that since science tells us that the more drugs, whether it's marijuana or heroin or whatever, that is out there in society on shelves in homes, the more likely children will get involved in them. And as they do, in their young brains, young developing brains, they're more likely, 5 times risk, to have an addiction, and that is what gets them in prison. And trust me, my friend, I can tell the gentleman that whether it's marijuana or heroin or methamphetamine, as a drug addict once told me, all addicting substances are gateway to other addicting substances.
So should we make alcohol illegal again? That exercise in prohibition that was brought by this Congress that was proved to be such a failure that it was repealed later on? Should we make alcohol illegal because kids might get it? If I submit to you, if you want to do that, you be the leader.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, sir.
Alcohol has been a part of our society and culture for thousands of years. It's part of our religious practices. It was impractical to have prohibition.
Bourbon is part of our religious practices?
Alcohol is part of our religious practice.
Wine. So make wine legal. How about bourbon and scotch and vodka and gin?
But also, so it's been culturally accepted for many generations, whereas marijuana hasn't. So if alcohol is a problem, why do we want to add another problem in the form of marijuana?
It's been culturally accepted not in your area, but in some cultures it has. And in the African American community, you are 8 times more likely to be arrested and sent to jail because of the color of your skin. It has a disparate impact on minorities, always has. And if you go back to the genesis of the laws in the 30s, it was made illegal because of discrimination against Hispanics. And in the 70s, Nixon, as is Haldeman and Ehrlichman, and they said, this is something we can't talk about African Americans in the inner city, but we can take their drug of choice and make it illegal.
The gentleman's time has expired.